Okay, today I'm gonna talk about I don't so from last class we have already talked about how to response content from server based on different URL, and this is not good enough, right? We can so now we just in this class I'm gonna turn the basic response into a full server. So what is full server? First, I need to talk about the content type first. So string HTML. So okay, now I'm gonna create a content type.js, and so again we're gonna do tree require cast server create server. So server l request function request response, then server is listening to part. Let's give it a 3,000 function server is running. Okay. So each time if we get a new request, we get a URL and request. So suppose this URL is plain. It means plain text. So we give it a response as plain text page. Now let's try it. 6, right? Content tab. So logo is 3,000. Why? Oh, sorry. Okay. 6, right? Server is running. And it seems like it didn't respond to anything. So response. Oh yeah, plain. Alright, so plain text page, right? So basically we just return some string, right? So suppose we want to return a some HTML content. So let's do HTML. We give it a HTML page, right? But this one shouldn't be plain text. We need to give it a basic tag, right? We stopped server and content tab plain. So let's do HTML. Yeah, as you can see here, so HTML page, right? So gotta open this. As you can see here, so there is a p tag here, element tag here, right? So actually we send a string right here as response, but actually the browser has decoded into a HTML element, right? Eventually, so it just looks fun. So how about if I add some Chinese character here? So I said hello, run it. As you can see here, so this the content has been totally messed up. So if I do plain text, right, plain text page, right, so bad code, broken code. Why? Because if you just simply input this HTML page, page tag, element tag, that's fine. But if you are adding some other language, whatever, Japanese, Chinese, or even French, sometimes you need, the browser doesn't know how to decode it. So how do we do that? Right here, we need to set a header here. So header is content tab. This in this case it is text plain charset tf-8. So normally, in the most of the cases, browser can understand your content, but sometimes you respond some special characters, browser cannot recognize it. So you need to add a header manually so that browser understand how the content should be reasonably decoded, right? So let's just run it again. 6 plain. It says hello, right? 你好. And yeah, let's try HTML. Still broken, right? So this is the difference between adding a header or not adding a header. So let's just add header on top of it and try it again. Yeah, but so the Chinese character has been translated successfully, but in this part, it seems like the paragraph tag has not been decoded successfully. Why? Because we look at this. So how do we translate it? Well, decode this part, this p tag, paragraph tag. We can decoding format, but actually it shouldn't. It should be HTML, right? So let's try it again. Decode it, right? So this should be C. So text plain versus text HTML the content tab. So how do we know which content should be how content should be decoded in which way? So if you search mem tab list, as you can see here, right? So text, so HTML here, HTML, right? Tab JavaScript, right? This is also pretty commonly, it is commonly used, right? So at the top of it, there is a text plain, right? So default value of textual files, right? So this is how we decode it. And suppose we have a JPG image, right? So you use this way to decode it. So in most of the cases, if you don't add this, decoding header, probably it's fine, but you better just do it. You just better add it either right here manually in your backend, or you just set up a front end on the HTML. So yeah, and now we're gonna give it a full server function. So which means we combine HTTP and file system together. So again, we're gonna take a look at this file a little bit more. So suppose now this is not home. This is not home page. I'm gonna give the full context of our HTML. So I need to add a header, body, right, and title something, right, to make it to make it generate a full complete HTML page. But this practice is bad, right? Everybody knows that we cannot just put all our HTML file content right here. This is stupid. So how do we do that? We can combine that with our file system together. So let's just simply copy this part. So besides HTTP, we need file system. I create a server here. So, but right here, I don't want to just create a server, step by step. I just want to use a shorthand. So how can I do that? It's fairly simple. So HTTP dot create a server, and in this function you can just get a request and response right here directly. And after that, you can use chaining to lacing port 3000, and it says server is running, right? This is much easier, faster, right? But normally this is a pure Node.js. We don't really use Node.js directly in our backend or other projects. So we use a framework called named Express. We're gonna talk about it later. So in this case, I'm gonna use this way to create a server and listen to it. So server. So combine generate HTML file by file system. So I have already get something some files here, right? So different tabs, including HTML file is something like this, Node.js, index HTML file, and some special character which is Chinese, and also a plain text file, a screenshot, and a CSS file. So these are basically what we normally. So let me open this, and I open this network, and I request Google, as you can see here, right? So CSS, JS, picture, right? File, HTML file like this, right? Response, right? As you can see here, HTML file. So if we can do this to response these files, HTML, TXT, JPG, CSS, then this is a fully functional server, right? So we can, when we request something, the server can respond at least all tabs of a file, right, dynamically. So now, how do we get this HTML file? So again, const URL request, and we get a request. We get a if URL equal to index. We gotta use file read file assets index.html function error data if, and the data is the binary output, right? I have already shown you from last class. So we just simply send the data back, right? Because rest.end can send either string or binary data, right? I have already shown you from last class, which is the error message or the warnings, right? So yeah, so now let's try it. I want to start 7, give it an index. Yeah, great, right? As you can see here, so suppose we change something here. Refresh page, right? So we don't need to how to say, restart the server. Why? Because each time we refresh the page, we send a new request, right? So the server will read the file dynamically. We'll read the file again, right? So we don't need to restart server. But as you can see here, so the characters has been broken. So yeah, we know how to do this. We just simply do rest.site header. Let me just copy this to save some time, right? Yeah, now we have headers. Okay. In this case, we have already changed our server file, so we need to restart it. So node 7. Yeah, okay. Index HTML file. Hello everyone. 大家好. Okay. So yeah, so this is not good enough. Suppose I have picture, right? I have plain text. I have CSS file, right? So we need, the server will respond different content when we when they change the URL, right? So plain txt, right? txt plain. So I have a screen.jpg. Let's take a look. Yeah, screen.jpg. All right. So what is the content type? It should be image jpeg, right? Because the charset is only used for string data type, not images, right? Response different type files. Okay. So it means, so in this case we don't need this charset anymore. We just simply use image jpeg. This is good enough, right? So again, the file is screen.jpg. Oh, this is we should use screen, but actually if you wanna use .jpg, is fine. It's also fine. Okay, I'll just leave it, right? So because this is URL, whatever the extension is, it doesn't really matter. So CSS, right? What is the CSS? Style.css, right? So style.css, right? So plain. Yeah, just let's restart it. 7 index, cool. blank hello world. This is vehicle. Hello everyone. Screen empty, right? So screen.jpg. Yeah. So because this is URL, so it doesn't really matter the extension, right? So the last one is style. Oh no, CSS, right? So the CSS has been returned. So if I open this window and enter the network tab, so I do index. So you can see here, so this one has been responded. Right? This is in HTML file, right? Header. Response header, as you can see here. So content tab, text, HTML, charset UDF-8. So if I do screen.jpg, screen.jpg, content tab, image, JPEG, response. There's no response data, right? Because anyways, the binary. So as you can see here, so when we add a header on top of it, it will just display it here, right? So now we just back to this file. As you can see here, so this is the. It looks pretty ugly, but it has the full function of server, right? Whenever you request something, the server give you some response based on the URL, based on whatever you require. And the URL is equal to uniform resource locator, right? So something like this. So it means that URL is just an address, right? So you request something from server based on the address, and the server will just fetch the file or content for you and will give you response. Even though this is pretty cheap, but well, this is a simple and fully functional. Right? So okay, this is pretty much about the full server today.